Move on to this now. The government should have closed South African Airways some 5 years ago. That's the view of Professor Yanni Rousseau, the head of School of Economic and Business Sciences at Wits University. Now, the embattled state-owned entity has cancelled flights today, as you will know, and tomorrow due to today's strike. Professor Rousseau joins us in our Johannesburg studios. Prof, good morning to you. Before we get into why you're of the view that this airline should have been closed some 5 years back, I want to start off with the comments from the Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan in New York. Yesterday, he says SAA is not too big to fail. Contrast that with Eskom, which we are told time and again by government that it's simply too big to fail. What does that tell us about SAA?
Good morning, Coley, and good morning to the viewers. Indeed, SAA is not too big to fail. SAA is not mission critical for South Africa's future. There's no reason for the government to own an airline. Eskom, on the other hand, is mission critical to South Africa's future. We need electricity to make our economy work, and therefore it is necessary to have Eskom and have Eskom operating well. To the contrary, SAA, as I've said, should either have been closed or should have been given away 5 years ago. It would have saved the South African taxpayers 20 billion rands.
Prof, how is that going to land with the unions who are probably receiving this message this morning for the first time, those comments from the Public Enterprises Minister?
Oh, of course, Coley, it's not going to land well with the unions, but the Public Enterprise Minister has at last addressed the real issue at hand. Why do we need SAA? SAA has really become a vanity project of ANC politicians in Parliament who apparently want to board SAA planes internationally. So there is no reason for the country to have SAA. There's no reason to put billions of rands in SAA. And yes, of course, the unions are right when they say SAA management is also delinquent. I believe after this interview you will talk to the CFO of SAA. Please ask him the question, when last did SAA really produce a set of financial statements that were submitted to Parliament, etc. So SAA management is delinquent, but the trade unions must understand that this strike action can be the last straw that breaks the camel's back and can put SAA in liquidation, hence resulting in a lot of job losses at the company.
Prof, we'll certainly put those questions to the Chief Financial Officer at SAA. Let's come now to the nub of your argument that this airline should have been shut 5 years ago. Why are you of that view?
Well, I said 5 years ago the government should either shut SAA or should give it away. The last 5 years has borne me out. SAA has lost on average about 5 billion rands a year. Taxpayers had to put that money into SAA. So I don't really understand when SAA says at the moment they're going to lose 50 million rands a day as a result of the strike. I can only assume they're going to lose 50 million rands a day more than what they would otherwise have lost, or else their accounting simply does not add up. So SAA is a burden on South African taxpayers. With 20 billion rands, we could really have done a lot for poverty alleviation in this country. We could have done a lot for social upliftment, rather than to try and keep an airline in the air.
Professor Yanni Rousseau, we thank you very much for making the time to come talk to us this morning. He is from the Economic and Business Sciences School that's in Wits University. So let's skip with the story. What happens to customers impacted by SAA flight cancellation? Well, Flight Centre Customer Experience Director Kim Taylor joins me to discuss the alternatives for travellers. Kim, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, how are passengers impacted by this unforeseen?
Yeah, Absolutely. It's a massive impact. So I think at the moment it is just identifying, especially in our business, but I think around the country and worldwide really, which passengers are affected and what those reaccommodation policies are. So what SAA are doing for passengers is reaccommodating them on alternative dates if they are available in the system or within the Star Alliance group.
But what if I want to fly today? If I'm stuck in a country somewhere and I need a flight back into...
It's not possible. And I think that's been the magnitude of the matter, is just really getting those passengers sorted for today and tomorrow, and obviously having those contingency plans in place for the coming week, as we really don't know what is going to happen. As you can see, nothing happening, and a lot of passengers today coming to the airport are stranded. There just is nothing happening in terms of flights leaving or coming in.
So passengers are turning up at the airport, as I was speaking to my colleague.
Yes.
What does that tell us about the message from SAA to their passengers?
I think you're always going to have a bit of unclarity, if I can put it that way, and passengers not understanding the magnitude of the situation. I think people still turn up hopeful that they will get onto a flight. From our side, SAA have been great with the communication, very clear in terms of what needed to happen, and they've been available, which I think has been really, really great.
Brand SAA. We can't not talk about that. What is this doing to the reputation of this airline? And I do think that they are going to anger a lot of passengers by the message, read your ticket and go through the terms and conditions on cancellations. Who has time to read fine print?
I understand that. Obviously, I think any time when you're travelling for business or leisure, you want to get to your destination or you want to come home. So passengers will be frustrated by being told to read the terms and conditions. I would encourage passengers that have booked with a travel agency or with other consortiums, or whether they've booked online, to get hold of trade support for South African Airways. We've encouraged our customers, if we haven't already reached out to them and contacted them, to contact us. I think this is a real time where we show the value of a travel agent, where we are hand-holding our customers through this entire experience and making sure that they're looked after.
And it must be a very tough time for you trying to rearrange flights for these passengers.
Just making sure our customers are looked after. I think that's always our priority. It's been a great experience yesterday in terms of our feedback we've received from our customers. I think they just want solutions and they just want to be communicated with.
All right, Kim Taylor, thank you very mumuch for making the time to talk to us here. She is with the Flight Centre Customer Experience, and she's a director there.